Ain't got the time to make it work. Alone, I was betting on you, yeah. You got the promise.
What's up guys, it's Lee here, and today I'm going to give you my review of Screaming Eagle's Stage 1 kit. Now good news, I did the majority of this video on bike, so you're not going to have to look at my head for the entire video, which is a plus!
You got the promise.
Now a lot of people just put this kit on when they buy the bike, so when I went to buy my bike, if I had bought this new, they would have thrown in them parts for like 50% off or something. Like that was a deal I have running, and I've constantly been into the dealership to just look at things, and these types of deals are always occurring. So like buy a 2018 Harley and get $2,500 in performance parts to put on the bike, which normally you'd get is an exhaust, a pod filter or an air filter, whichever you like. You know, if you don't like the big ass bulky ones like I do, get one of the more flat ones, and a computer system, the Super Tuner. So I rode the bike for about 4 or 5 months without any performance parts on, just the stock Harley Davidson. And a lot of people would ride stock Harleys, I guess. Not a lot of people can afford to put on $3,500 worth of performance parts like I have, and I have to say that the Stage 1 performance kit, it is worth the money. It is 100% worth that $3,500, but I kind of feel that you shouldn't have to spend $3,500 to make your already expensive Harley perform and sound like a real Harley, and that's my only concern with it. Shouldn't feel so sluggish and so slow and just so, it feels like it's being choked. That's what the bike feels like before you put the performance kit on. It's very rare that you'll see people buy a Harley and not look at parts to put on them and not put parts on them. Like, they're just so easy to customize. It's very expensive to customize them, but you know, there's a wide range of parts that you can just slap on these things to improve them both visually and performance wise.
When it comes to buying the Stage 1 kit, you can mix and match some parts, and that really does fluctuate the cost a lot. So for me, my entire bike setup with labour and all the parts cost $3,500, which is on more of the expensive side because I went with more of the premium parts. So like I got the heavy breather instead of just a flat air filter. It's just my style that I went with, and you know, I like it. You know, you could get the cheaper pod filters or cheaper air filters, and it would reduce the cost by like about $250. And then with the exhaust, again, I went for a more premium exhaust just because I'm a show off, I guess. Nah, I just like the short exhaust. You know, I don't really like the big long sweeping ones or the 2-in-1 pipe, so I went with the Pisani sweepers, which are quite an expensive pipe, but they do sound amazing, and that's why I decided to spend the extra money on them. So yeah, all up, if you go for just some, you know, normal cheaper Harley parts or Screaming Eagle parts, your cost is going to be in between $2,500 and $3,500. You're not going to get any cheaper than $2,500. And take that price into consideration where I'm in Australia, and in Australia we kind of get charged more for anything because that's how my country is.
So let's get into the parts themselves. So like I said, I have the Pisani sweepers, which are a more short style exhaust. They weren't my first pick when I was looking at the exhaust. I was looking at Vance & Hines big radius, I think they are. They're a bit longer, and you know, I like them ones, but they weren't in stock, so I was gonna have to wait. I was gonna have to wait like 3 months to get them on my bike, and I didn't want to wait, so I got these ones, which originally I was looking at buying a Sportster and turning it into a bobber, and these were the pipes that I was looking at putting on it. So you know, I was pretty happy when I found out they could fit this. So it really wasn't a second choice, it was just the original first choice that I didn't know was available for the for this model, so that's pretty good. Secondly, I've got the Screaming Eagle chrome pod filter, the heavy breather. They look amazing in my opinion. They are absolutely gorgeous, just perfect in every way. I was looking at blacking out the bike, but I'm actually happy that I went with the chrome look now. You know, not a lot of young kids like me have Harleys, and you know, the ones that do, they've always got their massive black ape hangers and they've blacked the whole bike out and they've just murdered it. The third thing that you get with the Stage 1 Performance Kit is the Super Tuner, which is a 700 little box that can be programmed to be able to tune the bike, which I don't understand why that just wouldn't be on every single bike that comes out. You know, that just seems like a money grab to me. A tunable computer system should always be in almost every bike. Like, who knows? Anyway,
so now let's get into the sound. So my motovlog setup is quite expensive. You know, I'm pretty proficient with sound, so I know how to get a really good audio quality out of my motovlogs, but it still doesn't do justice to how good this sounds. When I get on this bike, you know, you just get a shiver through your spine. It is amazing. It sounds better than any other bike I've ever ridden in my life. I've always been a sports bike person, and I couldn't see myself riding a sports bike purely because of how this bike sounds now. And I think really that's the magic that is Harley Davidson.
so they claim that the Stage 1 Performance Kit increases the performance of the bike by 15%. I haven't done a dyno test before, I didn't do one after, but I'd have to agree with that statement. A lot of manufacturers just sprout out numbers and be like, oh yeah, this gives you 50% more power. No, it doesn't. But yeah, no, the 15% is reasonable, and I could safely say that I reckon that this has even improved the bike more than 15%. You know, maybe even 20-25% more power is what it feels like to me. The bike used to struggle to get to like 140, 150, that's kilometers per hour, not miles per hour. And now, yeah, I can just pull that throttle back and it just ramps up, and it just goes and goes and goes. I haven't even top speeded this bike yet since the Performance Kit. Before I did it, I got to about 160, 170, and it started to clap out there, which is still pretty good. This is a really heavy bike, but it is 1600cc, so you'd expect it to be able to move. And then again, you don't really expect too much top speed from a Harley. So let's talk about fuel economy for a second. Previously, I was getting around 300 kilometers out of a tank, which is fairly good, I reckon. For a Harley Davidson, for any motorbike, 300 k's is fairly good. And since I put the Stage 1 Performance Kit on, I reckon it's dropped about 50 k's off that, so about 250. But that is purely to do with how I'm riding the bike now. It sounds more aggressive and it rides more aggressive, so you know, you want to ride it more aggressive. Like, you want to come out of a corner and you want to accelerate, and you will do that, and you will burn through more fuel because you're riding a bit harder.
So when it comes to putting the Stage 1 Performance Kit on your bike, I would highly suggest, if you haven't bought your Harley already, or if you have a used one, try and find a bike already with the parts on it. Or if you're going to buy a brand new one, maybe just wait an extra month or two until a dealership comes with their big offer, which they normally do. And like I said, I've been in and out of the Melbourne dealerships a fair bit just to look at parts and look at different things, and they always had some type of deal on, where if you buy a new bike, you're going to get some type of rebate to put parts on your bike. So anyway, thanks for watching my video, guys. If you've gotten this far, I really appreciate you watching my videos. Leave some feedback, leave a like, hit subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks again, guys.
You got the problems.